All right, so today we're going to learn how to do a levitation photo. Right now you're looking at my open images in Photoshop. You're looking at my base image. Now remember, your base image can actually have a person in here. This is what we're going to build everything on top of. So this is, again, the base image. I have another image here I'm going to have a floating roll of film, and then I have another image here with the film kind of floating out of my film, out of my camera, all right? So basically the goal is to put these two images onto my base layer right here. So remember, click on your image, go to Command A, which is select all, go to Command C, and then go to Command V to paste. So I'm done with this particular image. I'm going to go ahead and close that out. Now I'm opening up my next image. I have Command A, I have Command C, and now I'm going over to my image that I'm building this all on to do Command V. So here we have our three layers. I'm going to move my layers over here. So notice that you can kind of move these dialog boxes around here because we are going to be using a lot with our layers. So layer number one, or layer number two, which is on top, that's the image right here. What I want to do is I want to go ahead and use my quick selection tool and go ahead and cut these out. So I want to get my film cassette here, make sure that you're getting the whole thing, and then I want to get the film as well. So boom, you can see that that picked up the film. Now if I really want to get this correct, well, hey, you know, my shirt is probably going to be there, but, you know, I can go through and go to my quick selection tool, go to my minus, and I can literally knock out every single one of these sprocket holes right here just by drawing over them. And again, to, you know, basically get those out of my selection. So I'm minusing these out right now. You don't necessarily, you know, I mean, I'm doing a roll of film here, so I kind of need to do this. But you don't have to do this, so I'm just going to show you that, yes, that is possible here. So I'm getting back to my original size document. All right, and once you have, and let me get a little bit of this camera just in case I didn't. Just like the multiplicity assignment, you can get a little bit extra of what you need, and you can always go back and get rid of it, just like the multiplicity assignment if you choose to and need to. So again, I have to go to the plus sign. I didn't get a little piece of the film right here, so that is looking pretty good. And remember, all I have to do is create a layer mask. So down here at the bottom of my layer panel, where my cursor is circling, I'm hitting that box, and there is my roll of film floating out of the camera. All right, as simple as that, everybody. So now I want to do this. So remember, if I get rid of my eyeball, so I just don't see that layer at all, I click on layer number one. We see that I'm over here on my layer panel. I click on layer number one. I go ahead and I can zoom in. Here's my zoom tool. I can zoom in on this roll of film. Zoomed in a little bit too much there. And now I can go ahead and select that roll of film. So I'm going to my quick selection tool. I'm going ahead and trying to get just what I need here. With the quick selection tool. I'm going to show you how you can refine your quick selection tool here in a moment. So here I got that film, and then I can push this part back here. The film, the value of the film is very close to the values of the ceiling, so that's why it's kind of picking up some of those things. Remember, Photoshop doesn't know a line, it just sees differences in value. So once I click on that, I got a little bit of the reflection that I need to pick up here on my film cassette. So it looks like I just got that right there. I'm gonna minus out, I got a little bit of the pencil here, you can see. So I minused out of that. And now I want to go ahead and create my layer mask. Boom, all right? Now, here is something missing on my film cassette, all right? So let me zoom in on that. I'm going the wrong way here. So let me zoom in on that. Now, I'm missing a part of this. That looks bad. That looks fake. I'm going to show you how we can actually get that back, all right? So remember, white is what we see on a layer mask and black is what we don't see on one. So I have to actually bring this back right now. Even though it's the pencil, I want to bring it back. So I'm going to go to white, make sure white is selected. I'm going to edit in my layer mask. So I'm over here and I clicked on the layer mask. And now I'm going to go to my paintbrush. I can make that smaller. It already has a nice defined edge. And now I want to bring that back. Even though it's the pencil, I need to bring it back. All right. So now at this point, let me go back to black here, get rid of that line. That's not supposed to be there. All right. So now I need to actually make this black. Okay. So I'm going to click on the picture, not the layer mask. I'm going to click on the picture over here on my layer panels. And what I can do is I can do what is called cloning. All right. So watch this. I am going to go to the cloning tool. So clone stamp tool. You see that it's the top tool here. It looks like a little rubber stamp. And it actually is a little bit of a rubber stamp. Because what I'm going to do is I am going to hit my option key. So see how that changes right there to like a different cursor. When I click with the mouse, I go ahead and click with the mouse, or the keypad, on my keyboard here. I click once, and that basically just took a little picture of that area. Now, look what happens when I go over, or I'm about to go over and click on this area of the pencil. What it's going to do is it's going to take that plus sign, and it's basically adding it to my it's just rubber stamping from here and it's putting it over here. And the reason why I have that nice defined edge or line is because I have a layer mask already. That layer mask is going to prevent any material from being cloned into any other area. So, you can if you clone by accident, so if let's say I go over here and now I want to clone over here, well, hey, nothing's going to show up over here because it's not included in my layer mask. So right now when I go back to my full image here, you can see I have that floating roll of film. I'm going to bring back layer number 1, or excuse me, layer number 2, my top layer. So there is that layer floating around me right there. So, again, if something looks funky to you, you can always zoom in on it and make sure that you brought back what you needed to bring back and get rid of what you needed to get rid of. So if I have this little part of the film, it's looking kind of weird over here. Well, remember, white is what we see, black is what we don't see. So I can go over here. I can bring part of that back if I need to. All right. If I need to bring parts of this stuff back here, go for it, because I believe that's part of my film. Right there, kind of flowing out behind it. Yeah. So again, that part right there, I'm bringing that back. It does look like part of the background, so I can get rid of that. So I'm just going to go back to black and get rid of it, because that's not part of the film. It did look a little wonky over there, so that's why I was correcting that and fixing that up. And I can kind of straighten that out a little bit too. So obviously, when you are selecting stuff, you need to go back and check to see what you have there, if everything is, where it's supposed to be. Again, I can switch this to white because it looks like I'm missing part of my film right there. Perfect. All right. So you can see we're getting rid of those circles. I could possibly do that over here, but I think I got rid of enough what I actually needed to get rid of. So again, going back to my original image, this is looking pretty good. I have a couple things floating, but I actually have something selected over here on another image that I was going to use for another levitation. So I was going to have my mask sort of flying off of my face right here. One thing I wanted to show you now that I have this selected is what you could do, and this is sort of extra bonus, you might need to do this, is editing within what we call the quick mode mask. All right. So the quick mask, basically, when you click on it, it puts red over everything that is not selected, and then it is clear over everything that is selected. Black, when you have black on top, it will draw in red where you need to. I just drew in a little red there. And then when you switch it to white, you can erase. any of the red where it doesn't need to be. This is a way to really clean up your selection, because sometimes when you select things, your values are going to be so close. Like, look at the value of this strap on the mask compared to the values of the ceiling. They're almost identical. So again, editing within that quick mask mode basically will, put a red veil over everything. Now, I know that I'm editing in the quick mask mode because I'm right here. You can see my image says quick mask. Make sure that you always get out of the quick mask mode when you go ahead and do your selecting. So if I want to copy this, I can just do Command C, and now I can bring this element, and let's see if this will work. Command V. So here is my selection of my mask. I can kind of move that. Now it would be behind my ears. So if I do Command T allows me to now transform a selection. So if I wanted to transform this so it looks like my mask is sort of floating off from my ear and sort of floating over here, I can definitely angle that to where I need it to be. I can, I guess it would be sort of tucked behind my hand right there, so that now my mask looks like it's sort of flying off from my ear. All right, so I can go ahead and hit double click inside the box whenever you are doing transforming. So again, that's transform, so Command T. Also, another thing within the transforming mode is that it does allow you to resize your image as well. You can start to skew your image, that's making it smaller. If I hold down on the Shift key, it will then, it will make things a little bit more movable on, to sort of skew your image. But I don't really need to skew this at all. I'm just going to double click and apply that. If I need to create a blank layer mask for it, if I need to go ahead and erase any parts of this, the strap itself, I can move that better into position. All right, if I need to, remove the strap at all, then I have a blank layer mask created. So I can click on my layer mask. I can go and zoom in on this selection or this item here. Actually, it looks like it's tucked pretty well, but I have some little issues right there. So again, all I have to do is draw black onto my blank layer mask. So that will get rid of anything. And if I need to bring those parts back to make it look a little bit better, yeah, I can do that, but I don't really need to. All right, I'm just getting rid of a couple things. So it looks like, that is kind of flying out behind my head and behind my ear, so that it actually has 3 elements now floating. I have my mask, I have my film cassette, and then I have my other roll of film. Now, one last thing, if you need to actually create a shadow. Let's imagine that this roll of film right up here by the American flag is going to need a shadow on the table, or maybe it's even a shadow that is needed on my arm. How to add a shadow is very, very simple, okay? If you go to the, it is the 8th tool on the right-hand side. You have your dodge tool, which makes something lighter. You have your burn tool, which makes something darker. And you have your sponge tool, which can actually add or remove a color from your image. I'm going to go to my burn tool. Now, with your tools, you have a brush up here, which controls the size and also the hardness level. I would have your hardness level at 0 whenever you are creating a shadow. Now, with your shadows, you can create a shadow in your shadow areas, the darker areas of your image, your midtones or your highlights. I'm going to choose midtone. And now exposure, I can do a little bit of burning at 13-15%, or I could do a lot of burning at 100%. I'm going to go to about 25%. I'm going to make my brush a little bit bigger. And now, if I wanted to add a shadow to the table right here, well, watch what happens. I can make sure that I am on the layer of the actual table, so that's my background layer. And then watch this. When I go ahead and go over that area it is now making the very bottom of the table right here. I'm going to zoom in on it so you can see it. It's making that area darker. So I'm going back to my burn tool, and then again, I keep going over it. I go over it some more, I go over it some more, and then that burning is happening right there and only there. Now, another thing that I want to show you too while we're here and doing a little freshen up with Photoshop, this is history. Right over here where you see the 3 boxes, if I don't like that burn tool, what I just did, I can click back on it. So I can go all the way back to the beginning, and then I can re-burn that in. Let's say I wanted to only appear on the table and not appear on the cabinet. Well, that's where your selection tools come in. So the polygon lasso tool, I can now draw a straight line right down here. I can pick this entire area of the table. And now when I do my burning, going back to my burning brush, and I do, again, add to this, again, to my background, make sure you're on your background layer, the layer that has all the information, and then go ahead and start burning that in. And look at, I'm only burning the table. It is not burning the cabinet. It's not making the cabinet any darker. Okay? There are numerous ways that you can add shadows. That is just one way to add a shadow using your burning tool. Again, it's just making the existing tones darker. If I don't like that, I could actually go back and I could even use the black tool. I can paint directly onto my image. So again, I'm not in the layer mask. I'm clicked on my background layer. I have that area selected. I can go to my brush tool. I can make my brush tool a little bit bigger. I can make the hardness level 0. And now with opacity, I could actually bring my opacity down to like the 21 range there. I'm gonna make my brush just a little bit bigger. And this is another way to add a shadow. Boom, I just added a little black there, okay? So there's numerous ways to do different things here within Photoshop. I just wanted to show you how you can create some shadows. Once you are done with your image, it looks good, it looks like you want it to look, remember, you can go to File, you can go to Save As. If you still want to work on your image, save it as a cloud document. But if you are done, you go to Save on your computer. I'm calling this Lev for my Levitation. I am going to my save as a copy, all right? Because again, that will give you your JPEG option to save it as. So I am saving this as a copy. There I am changing the format to JPEG. It is going to be in my downloads. And now I can go ahead and save my image, hit OK for your JPEG options, and you have just finished your Levitation. So that is that for that presentation. Make sure you post your finished JPEG to Schoology so that we can all see your great work. Thank you.